considering the situation without Lindholm, without McAvoy, what does this win say about your team's character?
Well, a lot. There's different people that have to step up. Obviously, the guys in the back end. Going in was Brownie's first turn. Cliffy's probably playing a little more. Just guys having to add minutes to their plate, which I think every player relishes, Steve. But getting it done in crunch time against a really good team like this is a compliment to them, obviously, being ready to go. I think we've always taken that approach here a little bit that, you got to be able to play no matter who's in the lineup. We've always been, about a team game. We have our leaders lead, our followers followed. And I think some of our followers back there did a real good job with that tonight. Blocking shots, being simple. I think early on they tested us for sure in our breakouts. We weren't as clean as we want to be. We'll work on that and address it. But at the end of the day, then you got the next part of it is your top end guys know they have to. The forward group has to, with some high end puck movers back there and guys that generate, they're going to have to give a little more. And we saw that with Bergie's line and a lot of guys for that matter. They're the ones that end up in the score sheet. And then you got the goalie, right? It shouldn't matter who's in front of him. He's going to play his game. And I think Sway, it didn't affect him at all. He, just played his game.
Bruce, I know that there are countless examples of Bergie being a good teammate, but he gets that high stick. He's trying to stay on the ice until the officials send him down. Timing-wise, he gets in the room, gets stitched up, and he's back to start the third. Just what does that say about him?
Well, listen, we've talked about Bergie a lot around here. We know what he means to the team, what he brings. But again, high intellect player. Every area tonight, face-off circle, had a monster night against a real good team. And again, he's got the C on his sweater for a reason. And again, we don't win very many nights without him being, who he is. And he's been excellent the whole series. I mean, he's the oldest guy in our team, right? And he looks some days like the youngest. So credit to him.
How would you define the importance of Jake's goal? And were you surprised that Rod challenged?
The second part, I don't know. That every coach is a little bit different. I think, we've learned this year that, once a goal's on the boards, it's getting tougher and tougher throughout the league. We watch different ones to take it off. It does happen. So that part, no real strong feeling on it. You don't know. And then the first part about what I think about how he scored it, or
how he scored, just kind of how everything transpired from there.
Well, we made a switch. Taylor was there, and we were forcing some plays in there from that goal line position. There's only so many. Listen, this is the number one kill, right, going into the playoffs. So there's only so many things they're going to give you, and that's one of them. What their D will push up on Marshy, so there's a little room behind him to go to the net. But sometimes you got to get there and muck around, and maybe it opens up something later, and that's what we talked to Jake about. He did a real good job with that. The puck's sitting there, he went after it. How it plays out after that, it's kind of out of our hands. And good for him getting in there. The greasy goal again, Bergie, our first goal of the games, going to the you got to get there against good checking teams. So for me, that's a credit to Jake where he can help us. He's quick. He's got a good stick. And it was a very, very timely goal, big goal. Our power play has to help us. It's increasingly got better as the series went on, and get one out of the third as well. Now it becomes a weapon. So whether that's in their heads or not, we know that it's functioning better, and it gives us a little more confidence.
Bruce, what went into that decision to come out with 5 forwards there to start the third?
Well, typically, Charlie's up top, McAvoy, and in the past, the 5-on-3, and I thought it worked the best was a right stick with, Krejci would move up there. There was some movement plays we had talked about between periods, and they're really the only right stick. Carlo and Clifton and Brown haven't been power play guys, so we went with Charlie Coyle and with that right stick. And then the play has to evolve a certain way, so we just had a couple ideas from the 5 forwards. I find that what Carolina does well is they block the one-timers well. They anticipate the pass, so maybe shooting from your forehand sides before they can get in a lane was one idea, plunger low. So we had a couple of options. Marshy took the shot from there before they could get in the lane, and it was a heck of a shot. So that was kind of what we discussed between periods, and it happened to work out. We're not typically going to go with 5 forwards, but in this case, I thought it was a worthwhile risk for us to do it, and it happened to pay off.
Coach, Marshy's battled through a lot over the last month, the goal scoring slump, whatever, and just talk about how he's
That slump's over, Jimmy.
right. But I mean, just everything he's went through the last month, how he's persevered through it to get to this point, 8 points in 2 games.
Yeah, well, that's Marsh. We talked about character. He's got a letter on his sweater too for a reason, and he's a battler. He's a competitive guy his whole life, so he's not going to get down too long. This is the time of year he loves to play. I mean, he's shown that. Now you're at home. You got a crowd behind you that's pushing you. You got now some animosity, right? We're in game 3 or 4. I mean, I don't know. There's some chirping going on now too, and that I think can elevate his game as well. So you got a lot of that rolled into it. It's bright lights time, and I think Marshy's always been pretty good with that. And tonight it really worked out for him.
Butchie, just a McAvoy update. When did you guys find out? How long is he out? What's going on with that?
So this morning we knew this morning that something might be amiss. We found out before warm up that he was going into protocol. So that's how we handled. We had Josh Brown ready to go. We adjusted, maybe our power plays in case, and then so he's in protocol. So when he comes back, when he's out of protocol, how does he get out of protocol? I honestly don't know if he can test his way out or he just has to wait a certain amount of days. I you know what? I think the best thing for us, honestly, is to give you an update on that because I'm going to be speaking out of turn because the COVID rules before, they might be the exact same. I don't know because it seems like now that it wasn't much of an issue lately. So it surprised us a little bit, but it is what it is. Let's hope Charlie it comes out of it well, first of all, and feels fine, and we get him back in lineup as soon as possible. But when that is, I'm not the guy to answer, and I assume our team will give you a statement on that if they have any information.
Josh Brown hasn't played a lot here. I'm sure he wanted to make an impression early with his physicality. At the end, he's out there submitting some pretty good work for you. What did you see throughout the game from him?
Well, that he's, some of the guys back there are better with a lead. Obviously, they're defenders. Even some of our guys like this, where Chris Wagner looks good too, and then Brown and Forberts of the world that pride themselves on defending, keeping the puck out of their net. And so that's Brownie got his opportunity to play to his strength. If you're behind, he's not necessarily the puck moving guy you want out there. We talked about that with power play stuff. So he gets to play to his strength, and you're always going to look better when you're in those roles, right? So he's a good guy to have back there. He's a big body, long stick, move some people out of the way, and that's what we needed. And at the end, because they were, jamming the front of the net, trying to get pucks to the net. That's what you got to do to score. So that longness or big body and it becomes a real asset when he's out there against Niederreiter and Stahl. These are big men, so we get to counter some of that.
Bruce, just a thought on the ability of your team to get to 2-2 now and make this a best-of-3 series after dropping the first 2.
Yeah, we talked about there's adversity. We hit it early, and we're still going through it. We're 2-2, but we're going on the road, and a place they've played very well in this series, and we've played very well here. I thought we had pockets of real good game up there in Carolina. So, that part of it will be a positive for us. Getting some momentum here will be a positive, but they're going to go back home, and we're going to see their best effort in Game 5. Our adversity's still there. We have a couple of defensemen we rely on a lot that are right now unavailable to us. So there's other people have to pick it up. So it's great to even it and get back into it, but we haven't won anything other than get it back to square to even.
After Game 2, you guys said that you wanted to take things one game at a time. So how do you keep the momentum going heading back into hostile territory?
Well, that's it. It's one game. We need to win a game on the road. If we don't win a game on the road in this series, we're not advancing. So we know that's been in front of us, since the playoffs started, and we've got an opportunity to do that Tuesday. As I said, if we can, remain disciplined now. You can see a bit of a tail both ways, right, in this series. So we have to make sure that we have that focus of staying out of those situations that got us in trouble up there in the box, particularly Game 2. Take what we did well here and bring it up there. And that's it. We've played well on the road all year, so I don't believe our guys will be worried about that. It's just, you know, we know what they can bring, and so as I said, we got it to even, but that's it. That's all we're kind of we're going to enjoy today, mostly because it's Mother's Day and we should appreciate our mothers. But it's back to work tomorrow.